Whenever it comes to air pressure, it's really about what you're driving, how much of a load you have, what kind of tires you're riding on. There's a lot of variables that come into play. You can't just say, well, whenever it comes to snow, make it 10 pounds. One size doesn't fit all whenever you're talking about air pressure in the snow. All right, y'all, today we're talking about something that I rarely get a chance to talk about, and that's tire pressure in the snow. We just got back into town. We've been checking around the area, and it's showing about 6 to 7 inches of snow, and that's a lot for us. We just don't get that much snow. But with the snow comes the question of, what tire pressure do I run? I got hit up with a question from somebody here in Middle Tennessee, and it was a great question because they've never really driven in snow before. We get a lot of people from all over the world moving to Tennessee, and this individual had a 4-wheel drive side-by-side and thought they could just go out there and go wherever they wanted to, and they found out real quick that they couldn't. They were slip sliding all over the place, getting stuck. They were extremely frustrated because they thought that when they had a 4-wheel drive ATV or side-by-side, they could just go wherever they wanted to. And that's not 100% true. One of the reasons that's not true is because it really depends on your machine, your load, your tires, your tread, and your air pressure. And that's what it comes down to. I asked this individual what kind of side-by-side they had. You know, you go down through the checklist. It's like, what kind of unit do you have? What weight are you hauling? What tires are you running? What tire pressure are you currently running? And it came down to, he was running way too much air pressure. As a matter of fact, some people look on the sidewall and it says, do not exceed 35 pounds to seat the bead. Some people don't look beyond 35 PSI. They see 35 PSI and they think, okay, that's what my tire pressure is. When in reality, your tire pressure might only be 10 pounds or 20 pounds. We're running the Yamaha Wolverine X2 1000 here. If you look at the sidewall on these tires, it's going to tell you to check the owner's manual for tire pressure, which I really don't care for, because if I sell these tires to somebody used, they don't have an X2, they don't have the owner's manual, they don't know what it should be. So I don't like that when the tire manufacturers do that. So you have to basically start from scratch and say, okay, my tire pressure is going to be 15 or 18 or 20 pounds. That's where I'm going to start, and I'm going to see how it rides, and then I'm going to adjust from there. Because what happens is when you get out there and you start riding in the mud or hard packed or even snow, you're going to find out your machine doesn't handle the way you thought it would handle. So what I told this individual that messaged me is, I said, hey, listen, you're running 22 PSI in a tire that really has no business running 22 PSI. So what you want to do is just decrease that. And I told him to take it down to 12 pounds, 15 pounds, and start from there and see what happens. Well, he started dropping his air pressure, doing a little testing, and got back to me and said a super sweet spot for him was 10 PSI. And he was getting great traction, going to places he couldn't go before, so that really helped him out. So what I want to encourage you all to do is check your air pressure, because also you're going to lose air pressure whenever it gets cold out, whether it's your vehicle or your ATV or side-by-side. If it's sitting, you're going to be losing air pressure. So if you've lost enough air pressure to take it out and run it, that's a good thing. But whenever it comes time for the snow to melt and you want to get out and you want to ride in some hard packed or even on some old county roads or something, you're going to need that PSI. So always check your PSI, see where you're at. If you're running it in snow or mud, whether you have a Jeep or an ATV or a side-by-side, you're going to air up or air down depending on what four-wheeling situation you're in. So currently I have these tires aired down. They were in the manual at like 16 PSI, and I took them down to about 12 PSI, and they're doing great. We're running all over everything we want to. We're traveling on all the trails that we typically do with no problem. And if you feel your machine pushing, like it's not turning, it's just sliding and doesn't want to turn, whether it's muddy, snowy, you got too much air pressure in your tires. And then if you feel it's too wishy-washy and you're just like, you can feel your machine walking on the tires, like it's just spongy and you're just going back and forth, you don't have enough air in your tires. So it's one of those things, you just got to get out there, try it out, whether you're running snow, hard packed, mud, whatever it is, get your air pressure right and your machine will handle great. We'll see y'all. Take care. Have a good one.